to Rick Bailey, who's the head football coach at Reading and has been for a long time, and you kind of look at the numbers, and I'm a numbers guy, and the numbers don't lie. 14 straight winning seasons for Reading Ranger football, 9 straight playoff appearances, a state semifinal run back in 2008. Rick Bailey, you've built one of the most consistent, one of the strongest football programs around, and it's got to be a great source of pride for your community.
Well, we'd like to think so, yes. Friday nights are something special in Reading.
Yep, and they have been for a long time. 3-1 on the year so far this season, and we haven't had a chance to kind of talk about the team that you've rolled out for this year. How is it different from last year's squad with obviously Connor and Hubbard and all those guys graduating? You have guys graduate every year. How is this team different?
Well, when we returned, we only had 2 starters on offense, our 2 guards, who are both here, Nick and Dalton. And Dylan Ash started on defense at linebacker, and Devin Higley actually started on offense and defense depending on week to week. So the 4 guys I brought with me were basically the only starters that we had coming back. But we've been fortunate to just build over the years, and they all have a lot of game experience. Even some of our other kids that weren't starters, they had a lot of game experience, and so we just keep trying to reload.
Do you change it up offensively from year to year based on the personnel that you have? I mean, I've faced you a lot of times. There's a lot of multiple formations, a lot of motion stuff that you guys employ. Do you come into each season with a different approach, or do you keep it pretty much the same from year to year?
We expand pretty much year to year and day to day in practice, as they'll say. We kind of look at what our opponents will give us, and then we want to be able to exploit that. Our whole philosophy is never to have an empty bag, something that we can go to that will work.
So if you need a play, you've got it at any situation on the field, whether it's red zone or a long yardage situation. Rick Bailey's the head coach of the Rangers. First game of the year this season was a tough loss, 21-20 against Royal Oak Shrine Catholic. Coach, what did you take away from that ball game?
Well, we were ahead at halftime, gave up the lead, had a couple unfortunate turnovers, penalty, and gave Royal Oak the ball, down inside our 20 a couple times, and they capitalized. We were down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and we scored twice to make it 21-20. So we learned that we had a team that wasn't going to give up, and I think that was the most important thing that we had from there.
And then you go on and you beat Athens 33-0, Jonesville 38-7, Springport. A decent ball game last week from Springport. They've had a couple of decent seasons, 26-20 there. Talk about that Springport win.
Springport's offense is very difficult to defend. They're 4 wide, 5 wide, use motion all the time. Probably athlete-wise, might have had more than we did. Speed and out in space. We were able to grind the ball out when we had to. We had 2 guys go over 100 yards, and the third one, we had a long run called back. Dylan had a long run for a 75-yard touchdown run that got called back, and he ended up with about 80 yards. So we ran the ball effectively. We got the ball with about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter when it was tied 20-20, and didn't put the ball in the air once, just ran it and tried to chew up the clock. And to their credit, they knew we were going to run it. We knew we were going to run it, and we went about 85 yards and scored. So
one of those gut check drives where your guys just settle in and get it blocked and run hard and make it happen.
Right. Yep. Most definitely.
And those are the kind of drives that can win ball games. You look at Homer this week, Coach. Your homecoming game is always a big deal, obviously. What does Homer bring into Reading on Friday night?
I think Homer is probably the upcoming team in the league right now. From the 11th grade down through about the 8th grade, they are loaded with athletes. They have a lot of size. We will probably be outweighed by 40 pounds or so across the line. Quarterback has a strong throwing arm. They line up in traditional I formation, and then the next play they'll be in 4 wide. and throw the ball. Quarterback can throw it. I think they lean on their offensive line, so we're going to have to use our quickness up front to get by the big boys.
And so you talk about the preparation week to week and being able to add different wrinkles to what you do. So you can come into a game plan after you guys do your film stuff over the weekend and teach a new play or a package of new plays, and the kids are able to learn that and execute it properly Friday night. That says something about your guys and the coaching as well, to be able to add that week to week. And these guys have to kind of be on their toes at practice.
Yeah, I think they expect it now. It's overwhelming when they first come up, especially as a junior. Things just, we have so many plays. And but as the season progresses, they just expect it. And the new play might be just out of a different formation, right, or an added motion to it. And then we still block it the same way. And so they do a great job of recognizing what the play is and making it happen, and then we try to utilize the no huddle to our advantage and go from there.
Yeah, when it works on Friday night and a Ranger hits the end zone, that's pretty fun. That made it all worth it.
Right.
Coach Bailey, we had a listener send us a question that I'd like to read to you and just kind of respond to. Brian Renard writes the program, Coach, what is the hardest part of year to year putting a competitive, quality high school football program on the field?
I think the hardest part is in the off season and how hard they're going to work in the summer months. We've been fortunate over the years to, be successful, and so by doing that, we get a great turnout in the summer. Some of our younger kids right now aren't necessarily buying into that right yet, and so unless we get that attitude turned around, things may go south on us here in the next year or two. But I think that year in and year out, that's the biggest challenge is, to play at this level, you have to be physically fit. We want to run no huddle. We want to be in condition. And we're not worried about size as much as strength and speed.
Yep, and that's the way it's been for a long time. I was at your school Friday teaching a class, and just walked down the hallway, and it was Ranger red and gold all over the place. The kids had their jerseys on. Obviously, the cheerleaders, the students were decked out. And I would think with 14 winning seasons, all the straight playoff runs, you've got the attention of the student body. Those boys probably want to be a part of it. You talk about the turnout. You guys never have to worry about fielding a JV team or anything like that. You have the kids, and that's part of the battle right there, is just having the numbers, isn't it?
Certainly. I mean, the more you can choose from, obviously, the better you're going to be, I think. We're facing a little bit, as all of Hillsdale County, our population is decreasing, and our numbers at the high school level are down about 30 from, say, 5 years ago. So we're feeling that crunch a little bit. But hopefully these gentlemen that are with me today and the success they have will just, encourage the other people to want to play all of the Ranger athletics and do their part in the off season.
Would you mind introducing these four young guys you brought with you tonight?
Certainly. I have Nick Burnham here. Nick is an all-conference defensive tackle, and he was a returning starter at guard for us, although this year we had to move him to tackle. We've had a number of injuries really on the offensive line. So Nick is here, has a great motor on the defensive line, uses quickness, uses technique, is a master of the spin move, practices very hard. Nick is with us. Devin Higley is with us. Devin is our quarterback. Maybe pound for pound our toughest kid, to be honest. He drops back to throw the ball. If he gets hit, he just shakes it off, comes right back, plays defensive back for us as well, does a fantastic job, whether it's running the ball or throwing the ball. Dalton Stepnowski is here. Dalton is our other returning guard. He plays inside linebacker for us. I think he's either one or two in the conference in tackles, led us in tackles last year. Dalton has a good eye for watching film and picking up tendencies, which he then carries over onto the field on Friday nights and can make plays happen because He knows what's going on. And then Dylan Ash. Dylan started for us last year at outside linebacker, and he's our starting tailback this year. We flank him out some, throw him the ball as well. Dylan is a very heady player. Also does a great job of recognizing plays and formations from a scouting report type thing. I think that's one of our strengths year in and year out is we really work hard on the defensive side of the ball as far as what is our opponents are going to do. And Dylan can often call out plays on the field, which is a great benefit to us.
Yeah, I can. From experience, I know like the second time my Redskins coached against your guys, every time we set up, you knew the play we were going to run, and your guys were yelling it out. And that's a little bit disheartening, I can tell you, as an opponent, when the other team knows exactly what you're going to run. And Devin, what about that? I mean, the preparation that has to go into your preparation week to be able to roll out onto the field and know what the other team's going to run at you, it takes a lot of work and preparation, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot, actually. It's great to know that we have everybody going to the ball every single play, and they're going to be there.
What about the coach said you have a lot of plays, and so you need to know all the plays, and not just what you're supposed to do, but oftentimes what your teammates are supposed to do for each play. How are you able to stay on top of that playbook and be sharp every Friday night?
At first, it's definitely a big challenge, but like he said, it's just something you kind of get used to, and you know what you're doing. It just happens. And,
hard work breeds success, and you guys have had a lot of it. Dalton, it looks like you're no stranger to the Ranger weight room. He's a big dude, and Dalton, how important is that? Just not only the work in the off season, but the conditioning that goes in during season to having a successful year.
It helps out a lot, especially when the fourth quarter comes. Guys usually get lazy, and then you can plow them over.
And you put a kid on his back, that feels pretty good.
Yeah, it feels great.
Yeah. Dalton looks like a guy that would enjoy putting a guy down on his back. Dylan Ash, he talked about the mental part of the game, recognizing a formation or being able to predict or anticipate what's going into it. I think a lot of people watch football and think, well, these are a bunch of meatheads out there running around and there's no sort of cerebral part of the game. But that's really not true, is it?
No, it's not. Football is a 100% mental game. Every week when we come to practice, our coaches have a good game plan for the coming up week, and we just know and put trust in their judgment on what this team's going to do. And when game time comes, we know what our job is, and everybody gets to the ball.
Being a tailback for the Reading Rangers, I mean, I just think back to the amazing running backs that this team has featured over the years, and they've had a bunch of them for a long time. To be able to carry that ball for the Rangers has got to be pretty fun Friday night for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Trying to live up to the legacy of the Ranger running backs a little tough, but just do my best and put trust in my linemen and just do what I can do.
I interview a lot of football players, and they're always team guys, and you take the good with the bad. But I would imagine after you've run for 80 yards and score a touchdown and on top of the world, and you turn around and see that flag, that's got to be a little disappointing, right? I mean, be honest with me, Dylan.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing. You always think, maybe we're going to line it up and do it again.
Right.
I'm still huffing and puffing in the end zone, thinking about how I'm going to run the ball again, but, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it does. And you just kind of roll with it and get on to the next play. Nick Burnham's in my JCC class. So, Nick, in addition to being a top offensive lineman, D-tackle, all the rest of that, you're handling your business in the classroom. You've taken some tough classes. Just talk about balancing, the classroom side of it and the athlete part of it.
Well, you got to football has always been a privilege, and if you don't have the scholar part of it, you can't play football. That's been what my parents have always said, and kind of stay true to it.
Master the spin move?
I like to practice my moves whenever I can in practice, make sure.
But talk about that part of it. You practice your spin move at practice, let's say. Do you do that in a scrimmage at practice?
Yeah.
Or like individual drill?
Both.
So if you're in a scrimmage and you lay down your spin move and you blow by a kid and you get to the scout quarterback, do you have to back off then, or do you lay the kid out?
I back off.
Yeah, that's a good guy. And then Friday night you got it all stored up, right?
Yeah.
Rick Bailey, I know you guys are really busy, and to get a team out during the middle of a week, especially before a homecoming game, is really tough. I appreciate you guys coming in. It's great to talk Ranger football. I get more emails and requests to talk about Ranger football than just about any sport that we have, and I think that's a testament to your following, not just in reading, but people are following you all over the place, all over the county. And to work with these guys and to have a winning team, it's got to be fun and gratifying, and I appreciate you guys coming in.
Well, we appreciate you having us here, and just the opportunity to coach young men like this. Andy, you do a lot of coaching as well. That's the beauty of what we do, is to have relationships with these kind of young men here.
7:00 Friday night, homecoming against Homer.
That's correct. Yep.
Good luck, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great year. And that's the Reading Rangers with head coach Rick Bailey. We'll be back with more right after this.